So Matt, why don't you explain how these skill frameworks can simplify that language that we're going to be using with our business leaders?
And I think this was one of the areas that kind of has been bubbling up over a period of time. And it's even dating back. I often having worked with a lot of large learning and development organizations, I used to get caught between HR and the L&D side. So the old conversation between, we have a competency model, a competency framework, we've picked something up and we're bringing it forward. I think back in the day, Lominger was always a big name, but there were several of them that there was a lot of work around that. HR would say, we have this, and they would come to the L&D group and they say, hey, you have everything, a lot of the inputs you need to be able to do your training. It'll be a huge lift to be able to do it. And of course, a lot of the learning practitioners on the other side were saying, this doesn't tell us how to do the work on the other end. There's a missing component.
I think you nailed it perfectly. And I think we're morphing to the emphasis on skills as jobs are being created and finding out what people need. So approximately 2/3 of the jobs that will be out there in the marketplace by 2030 don't even exist today. So what I think people are saying, well, what do we need them to do? If you look at the carbon capture side of the equation, since I'm kind of familiar to that, being exposed to that in the Houston area, there's a lot of shifting that needs to be done if they want to keep some of the people in their organization, and all the people that are in those majors, the major oil companies. They are looking to those people to fill the alternative energy spaces. And so they're looking and saying, okay, well, what kind of skills do we need these people to have when these jobs come online years down the road? So skills are really important.
I'm just thinking about how we all, as learning and development professionals, think about skills and connecting skills to roles. I think one of the things that we're probably all finding, we certainly are at Korn Ferry, is that employees are starting to think about skills differently. They're starting to think about career paths in terms of not what's the next job, but where can I apply the skills that I have?
Hesitating because I had to read the definition and go, wait a minute, is that what we're talking about? But yes, we're using these, and we do very much align things to an assessment, aligning to skill-based learning, et cetera. I think the biggest challenge right now is just ensuring everything's aligned, because there's a lot of back-end manual process that goes along with that currently, because the systems aren't talking to each other quite yet. But I think the going from a success profile to assessment, et cetera, is very much in play.
Anton, why don't you just share your thoughts on this, and then we can get input from others.
Yeah, it's a big discussion and place in our organization where we're having trouble just getting to a consistent approach that we think is going to be effective. And I had some other thoughts as well, Dirk, because Chris and I had a chance to connect this morning about this challenge. And he's the one on point, my colleague, to get this sort of solidified. So he's feels like he's herding cats, I think, right now, because we're in different places. And the challenge we run into is what do we put at different levels, right? And so when you think of somebody maybe going into a high level category and then getting more detail and then going even further into the detail, they're drilling down, we're just challenged in how we structure that. And so the first take, and we have a specific section that we call technical skills. They're technical job skills.